All right, Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It is 16 minutes past 5 p.m. It's a Children's Day Monday evening on the Smooth Drive. My name is Ayokumi Kekeriakum. And of course,
My name is Joy Ray.
yes. This is the time to get into the marketplace. And it's all about children today. It's a Children's Day special. And we'd love to talk about raising business-minded children. And our guest this evening to talk about this is Chinwe Egwim. She is the chief economist at Coronation Merchant Bank. Very good evening to you, Chinwe. And of course, happy Children's Day to you, to your inner child as, as well.
I actually didn't hear what you just said, but what did you just say?
Oh, I said happy Children's Day to you and to your inner child as well. Is
Oh,
is
thank
what I
you.
said.
Thank you. Happy Children's Day to you too.
Great to have you on the marketplace, talking about this particular topic, something I wish that a couple of years ago was
Mm-hmm.
a staple in our educational system, in our schools, talking about business and money and all that, to the kids at a young age. I'm pretty sure a lot of grown-ups right now would have a different mindset where business and money is actually concerned. So it's great that that pattern isn't exactly being continuous. So it's great to have you on this evening. And to all our listeners out there, you can be part of the conversation this evening. And the WhatsApp number is 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981. We're also streaming live on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. So you can also catch the live stream out there. See me decked up in my Christmas or winter best, as it were. All right, so Chinwe, let's get into the groove. And what's your childhood story of getting into the field of economics? Because secondary school economics for me, at some points, is all I will say. I won't get into details.
You're not feeling it.
Not really, not so much.
Okay, well, okay, so thinking back years ago, because it's been a while, I would say that I would say my journey into economics was really ignited by my dad.
Oh, okay.
I had planned on studying chemical engineering or computer science. I
Hmm.
think at the time I had even gotten as far as getting admission
Oh,
into
wow.
to study one of those courses. So I studied in Ghana and in Kumasi, and then you were allowed to like pick two courses or something like that. So it was
Okay.
chemical engineering, computer science, but then last minute my dad adjusted it to economics. And I was livid. I was so upset.
No.
I
Did
couldn't
he tell you?
understand. Mm-mm.
Oh
Ah,
I
my
found out in the
goodness.
evening. I remember I found out in the evening and I was so
Oh.
upset. So I was like, why? And I don't know, he just said to me, yeah, I think your physics isn't that great. And you're gonna need physics with chemical engineering. So he said something in that line, like he feels like my physics should be stronger, like more like an A as opposed to the B's that I was receiving then with physics. But he changed it, and I'm super grateful that he did. And I would also
interesting.
say that like, studying it is one thing to study, but then it's another thing to apply it.
True
So I will
story.
be honest with you that like studying coming out, I really didn't know how to use it when I came out. But again, with his guidance, I was able to apply myself. Um, the passion for economics was also strengthened when I realized I could use it as a tool to shape conversations that assist
Mm.
decision makers and also, stimulate actionable steps for relevant impact. So I wasn't happy initially, but then I'm extremely grateful that he did it. So this was a case of daddy knows best.
Nice. All's well that ends well, as they say.
Hmm. So I guess you'd say that it's the importance of parents or mentors cannot be
Mm,
overemphasized, seeing that he kind of took the step forward and said, you know what, your grades aren't looking so great here, but instead of
mhm.
you just struggling in a particular space, let me just do this. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I'd like
yeah,
you
I
to
agree.
speak to that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like it cannot be overemphasized. Parents do play a crucial role in shaping their children's career trajectories. or should play. Let me not say do, because I don't think all
Okay.
parents do, but should play
Mhm.
a crucial role, I think, by providing guidance, resources, and also emotional support to a large extent. I think that parents should help in developing values, work ethic, confidence, which are essential for career success in general. And, you know, by exposing kids to diverse opportunities, encouraging exploration, and fostering, you know, a growth mindset, I believe that parents can significantly influence their children's career choices and just long-term professional fulfillment. Like it may seem like nothing right now, but like you're planting seeds in them.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's actually good to know. But what in a situation where the child, you know how it is that some parents will say, "Oh, it's either you're a doctor, you're
An engineer,
engineer,
lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
an
coming for
accountant.
the lawyer," you know. But
Yeah.
you find that this child's strengths are not in this space,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
keep insisting, and then that child actually gets in, does what you want him or her to do,
Yeah.
and then
And is
along the line just
unhappy.
says, "You know what? Hey, I've satisfied you. I'm going back another route, and I'm
Yeah.
doing this for myself."
Yeah. No, so that's why I said, you know, encourage exploration.
Okay.
Listen to them. Again, like I think the way things are right now, like
Mhm.
it's slightly different from when I'm gonna say we
Included.
were growing up or coming up.
Yeah.
The kids just amaze me right now. They amaze me. So I think listening to them is pretty important as well.
Okay.
Very, very key. Okay, let's talk about a book that you wrote actually on inflation, which you directed towards children. Now, what actually inspired you to write that book? Because I will be honest, when I had to learn about inflation, I'm putting my hands up in the air as I always do. And I actually learned from, all these very simple, like kids sort of explanation videos, like animation, talking
Yeah.
about inflation was. That is when I really understood, oh, so this is what inflation is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't seem to make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Mm-hmm.
hearing that you actually wrote a book in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
What were the influences? Because I'm actually really curious to hear this.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I did write a children's comic book actually.
Oh,
Yeah, it's Super E, the
okay.
Inflation Smackdown. Um, okay, so I'll give you a short answer, then I'll give you like a slightly elongated answer.
Okay.
First of all, I believe in giving back and paying it forward. And I just feel like that's a segment in my space that is ignored, kids. Because we're
Right.
in my space, we're also trying to move from talking to ourselves to talking to the non-financed people, and then you now go to the layer of children. So I just felt like, let me also, I think they matter enough for us to also engage them. So that was one thing. And the book was inspired by faith-driven nudges and the potential to just boost economic literacy among children. But I don't know, like I had a lot of focus groups with kids to really just get the meat of how I would express myself while writing, because it's really, when you look at the book, you'd find that it's a dialogue style. So that's why it's comic, right? It's a
Okay.
dialogue style. So I had to engage the kids to really understand like what they understood with regards to price movements. And I think just some of the feedback I've received, I remember a child or a mom bringing her child back from school, and she was like, "Oh, my son said to me that we need to go get a lot of tissue paper before the prices of goods go up,
Huh.
because that's what Auntie Chinwe said in the book." So, so they get it, and in the book, like I think what one of the products that was prominent is a tablet, and right now you find that kids like love tablets, and it was like the main character asking her mom for a new tablet, and just now you know what's going on with the economy. Parents
Oh,
are also
yes.
finding it difficult engaging their kids to say, I really want to get this for you, but it's not
Right.
possible right now. And so just having that kind of book or tool that would help you explain to the kids, like, this is what's going on, the concept of discounts, sales, all of that is in there. And the teaching inflation is just not technical. There are also behavioral traits in there. There's teaching them about patience, contentment, wants versus needs, you know? So yeah, so
Right.
all of that is embedded in the book. So I'm gonna stop because I'll keep talking. So-
I know. Talk is important. The more information out there, it actually helps.
True story. You know, talking about information, I'd have given an arm and two legs to have that information.
Trust me.
Way back when, really.
But yes, talking about, having this information out there, I know that I saw this viral video, although this was in the UK, and the girl was actually complaining about the cost of ice cream. She had to buy the ice cream for £9 as opposed to £1 or £2. And she was like, why is it so expensive? This isn't how it used to be. So I know that that's in the UK, but I know we also are experiencing having to buy things extremely expensive. I saw another video earlier today where someone was complaining about buying tomatoes and peppers. What he would buy for 500 and have like a lump sum of large quantity of tomatoes, peppers, tatashi, and all that. It was literally 4 scrawny looking
oh my God.
tomatoes, 2
It was ridiculous.
dead looking tatashi, and then a sprinkle of peppers. So, and that was 500.
Yeah.
So I don't know. In your own opinion, is this an example of why children should learn about the real world economics?
Yeah, like it is, because it's they're part of, like, they're feeding the economic realities. You get, like, I imagine, I haven't watched the video, but I imagine this child is old enough to earn an allowance or something, and maybe her weekly allowance could afford her, like, I don't know, multiple cones of ice cream, and now it's like
He was very affronted in that video. Very affronted.
so yeah, like, and she's wondering, like, why? So yeah, like a book like this would help them understand the reason why, and I think it also instills in the kids the concept of planning and saving and budgeting. So yeah, like it's important. I think this book will be relevant to the girl who needed multiple cones of ice cream. But I'm gonna go look for that video. Very much
Please do.
interested in
You'll find
it.
There were two young girls, and they were talking to an adult,
Mm-hmm.
and just all talking about that ice cream man saying that for 9 quid, what she said, and all that, just talking about how it was so expensive. How exactly is he going to make a sale or make sales with ice cream that expensive? Because kids will not buy, and so on and so forth. So it clearly showed that at least she and her friend, and probably other kids, maybe in that neighborhood, were very aware of the cost of things, and from maybe £1, £2, up to £9 for one ice cream. So they would clearly understand that, hey, something is not okay. Yeah, exactly, something isn't adding up here. So they have that. I mean, other kids probably say, "Oh, it's £9. Let me go and ask my mom for more money."
Exactly.
Oh, wow,
let me ask my dad for more money. That kind of thing. But kids who probably won't understand, the dynamics that are actually at play there. It was a good one. You should actually try.
Yeah, I'm gonna go look for it once we're done.
And talking about girls, I'm just gonna put us on a cliffhanger because we need to go on a quick breather right now.
Okay.
But I just want to put this out there for you, Chinwe. You are the chief economist at a major merchant bank in Nigeria. Now, are you satisfied with the number of women in the field of economics, or does more need to actually be done? I will leave you with that one. I'll let you, marinate on that when we get back in. You can get back into the conversation and you can share your thoughts with us on that one.
Okay.
Alrighty, to all our wonderful listeners, we're going on a quick breather right now when we come back in the marketplace on Smooth 98.1. We'll continue. Don't go anywhere. All right, halfway gone. Let's see. Okay, this is this morning. Let's drink water. Those cute. For 9 quid.
If it were you, something you're buying £1, £2, you're now using 9 quid for ice cream. It's not food, it's ice cream. Like, make it make sense. Why am I spending so much? Aww. Okay, someone went for his went to have fun. He went to have fun. He's traveling.
Rich kid.
Wow, really? Okay. Because we had tackled Daddy, not her, to Mommy had taken him out, and Joy buys him stuff. Daddy, when are you going to do that? So Daddy decided to do that. He's on leave.
Rich kid.
That's a rich kid.
You really don't want to answer that question. All right, welcome back to the Marketplace on Smooth 98.1. Your love music, love live station. 32 minutes past 5 p.m. It's a Children's Day Monday. Ayokumi and Joy in the studio having so much fun, as well as our very special guest this evening in the person of Chinwe Egwim. She is the chief economist at Coronation Merchant Bank, and we're talking about raising business-minded kids. Chinwe, welcome back to the Marketplace. It's been great having this conversation with you thus far. So much fun, and of course, very, very informative, as it were. So before we went on that quick breather, I posed a question to you. You know, about you being in the position that you are, you know, as chief economist at a major merchant bank in Nigeria. So how satisfied are you with the number of women in the field of economics, or is there a lot more that needs to actually be done?
Okay, so I've answered this question before. I'm going to try my best to answer it in a simple manner.
Okay.
First of all, the participation level of economists as macro or financial economists in the corporate space is very low. But you would find economists that are within institutions as risk managers, strategists, business development analysts, and so on. There are also economists or female economists that have decided to take the route of academia. So from a study perspective, you do have a handful of graduates in economics that are women. I guess it's now when you're looking into like capital markets, finance, banking, and then sitting in specific roles, like example, what you just mentioned, the chief economist role, you wouldn't find a good number of women. But from an educational perspective, there are a handful. I remember my class, I think it was a good split of of economics when I was doing my bachelor's as well as when I was doing my master's. From a gender perspective, it was a good split. But of course, again, how shall I say this? There has to be interest, right? There has to be interest, and the decision to follow a career path really lies on the child or the young adult, right? So short answer is I'm not satisfied.
I like the fact that you say you're not satisfied, and naturally looking forward to seeing more women being in that space. However, going back to your childhood story, right? You weren't also so excited about being in that space. However, the thing I want to know is with regarding that, right? Being an economist and all, who does the responsibility of actually getting, I wouldn't say girls, but females into this field fall on? Do you is it society? Is it the parents? Or is it the girls themselves?
Well, I think it's a collaborative effort, and I would use my experience because I like that you took it back to my childhood. I worked at the Central Bank of Nigeria. That's where I started off. And I was in the research department, but I remember obviously planning to go for my master's, and and I wanted to become a statistician, right?
Okay.
Yes, I did because I love numbers so much.
Huh.
But again, I was kind of reeled back in by my dad. And
Oh,
and
okay.
at this point, I had mentors. I didn't know the word was mentors at the time, but I had people who cared enough to call me aside and be like, no,
It's in this
I think you should
direction.
just stay, like, be calm and, like, So I think it's like a collaborative approach that is required. As I said, at the end of the day, the child or young adult ultimately makes the decision on what career path to follow. And perhaps by defining, and now this is me multiple years later, over like, yeah, I don't, let me not say that so that my age is not like calculated, but like multiple years later, I would say that by defining distinct pathways within the field, we can make it more accessible and attractive, to aspiring economists, particularly women. This involves active players within the field, articulating the diverse opportunities, ranging from roles that I did mention. You have macroeconomics, development, risk management. There's even consultancy and even policymaking. You find a lot of economics in there. I
Okay.
think it's also important to emphasize the significance of just practical training programs tailored to equip young economists with the skills needed to thrive in dynamic market environments. So I would say that the professionals within the space, maybe we need to do a better job of making the field a bit more attractive and showing like just a clear career pathway for students that are coming out of school to see, okay, if I begin this way, I'm able to, end up like this. So yeah.
Right.
I like that.
Now, talking about students and school and learning, I need to sort of segue into this particular thing because we've had different back and forths over this particular issue concerning, mobile phones, technology, and all that. Now, are you actually worried about the distraction about mobile phones and, tabs and so on and so forth on children, or will they yield a positive learning experience if used properly and or appropriately? What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think I have like mixed feelings towards this. I would say like the impact of mobile phones on kids is like a double-edged sword. So on one hand, they do offer valuable educational tools, as you just pointed out, and they can enhance learning through interactive apps and access to information. And they also do pose as significant distractions that can lead to reduced attention span. Social isolation, we're seeing a lot of that now. And exposure to inappropriate content, that's happening as well. So I think the key really lies in balanced and supervised use, where the positive learning potential is maximized while minimizing the risks of distractions and misuse of these devices.
Okay. But some parents will argue that with these invention that is with the mobile phones, you're finding it that the children are becoming smarter, they're becoming more knowledgeable. So, but I also see where you're saying, okay, have a balance somewhere.
Yes, please, yeah, because it's crazy out there, so they need to be protected, so just parental guidance, parental control is essential.
Okay. All right. So with that in mind, I don't know. I know that we can't have you in the studio at the moment without having to talk about, yeah. So when I say not having you in the studio physically, well, yes, we're having you virtually, and there's no way wouldn't be able to talk about the current issues of Nigeria's economy. There's no way that that topic wouldn't be broached. So I want to know, really, how are you interpreting the present GDP growth in this first quarter of the year? Is it enough or is it below par? Above par? Where exactly?
I thought I was gonna escape this one.
Yeah, as an economist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so those figures came out on Friday, right? To be very honest, I had expected a more sluggish growth, at best
Mhm.
at 2.3%. So that was like I was surprised when I saw it at 2.98%. Um, and I guess my expectations were really on the back of the usual post-festive slump, which comes like, you're coming out of the last quarter of the previous year where you have your festivities, and then you're going into the first quarter of the next year, which is historically weaker than that quarter. So I thought it was going to be a bit weak, but I think it's worth highlighting. When you look at those numbers, you would see that on a quarterly basis, that's Q on Q basis, GDP did contract significantly by about 16%. That is significant. So the positive growth, which is 2.98%, is on a year-on-year basis. And that may very well be due to positive base effects and the economic realities that we're all facing, which we spoke about, we touched on a bit earlier in the conversation, were indeed reflected in the data released from a quarterly perspective. I think another economic indicator to point out is the monetary policy tool, or monetary policy rate, sorry, which has been hiked quite a number
Once
of
again.
times. Yes, so February and March,
Mm.
we saw some hikes. And I would say that must have had an impact as well, because in as much as the hikes are aimed at stabilizing the naira and controlling inflation, it does have mixed implications. And one of the adverse effects is that the rate hikes make borrowing costs more expensive for the small and medium-sized businesses, which rely on loans for growth. So yes, it is true that the SME community in Nigeria has operated in a high interest environment for so long, and some have found ways to cope. But just based on anecdotal evidence, the recent elevated levels of borrowing costs it's impacting growth for some of these companies, not just growth, but also expansion. And the domino effect, you spoke about the basket of tomatoes and other, items in there. The domino effect of this can be seen in higher costs of goods and services in general, because businesses, yeah, they have to pass on their increased borrowing costs to consumers, and we're all feeling that. So
Tell me something. We're really experiencing difficult times.
We definitely are. Time has really run by, but I actually need to chip in with this and get your thoughts on this one, because this is something that virtually every Nigerian is wondering. We can't talk about the economy and taking things forward without talking about FX. Now, in a recent interview, you said Nigeria needs about 50 to 60 billion dollars to stabilize its exchange rate.
Yeah.
How on earth can we generate that amount of FX a year?
Okay, let me just say something, that in that interview, someone else said something, gave a higher range, and I was like, I think the last time I ran that assessment, it was lower, with maybe between 50 to 60. So I just want to put that in context first.
Okay.
Hitting 50 billion right now, the gross external reserves are plus minus $33 billion. So to get to 50 right now would require about $17 billion. And I think with the deliberate steps targeted at different FX revenue sources, that target can be achieved, but in the medium term, which is obviously over a year, there are other sources. It's not just dependent on the foreign portfolio investment inflows. That's one way we get FX. There's also from the oil receipts. So it'll be really good to see deliberate steps, or seeing the impact of changes, policy shifts in the oil sector, to see how we can generate more revenue from there. Then, of course, non-oil exports. So diversification is very much important for us to be able to generate revenue from the non-oil space. And we cannot forget the diaspora community. What are we doing to try to attract some of their funds back into the economy? So many, I could go on and on, but again, you did mention time constraints, so I would put a pin there.
All right. Even though it was as brief as possible, it was very insightful as well. Thank you so much for that, Chinwe Egwim, the Chief Economist at Coronation Merchant Bank. It's been a pleasure talking to you this evening on a Children's Day special on The Marketplace.
Same here.
All right. Do have yourself a great evening.
You
Thank
too.
you to all our amazing listeners out there for joining. The Marketplace will be on your radios right here on Smooth 98.1 every Monday at 5:15 p.m. Meanwhile, the Smooth Drive with Joy and Ayo Kumi kicks on. More great music to come.